Breaking news into CBS Sports HQ. Caitlin Clark took to social media to announce that her season is over. Clark hasn't played since July 15th after suffering a groin injury. She was limited to just 13 games this season. The Fever are 13-15 without her this year and just a game and a half ahead of the Sparks for that final playoff spot.
The WNBA is in full panic mode. Fans aren't only frustrated. They're appealing for Caitlin Clark to take her talents elsewhere after a nasty groin ailment has sidelined her yet again. That's right. The same fans who once filled arenas are now demanding she exit the league entirely. The question today, is Europe calling louder than the WNBA? Do you think Caitlin should actually make the step to Europe?
WNBA ratings' worst nightmare just came true because it was just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out for the rest of the season. She's only played 13 games this season, and her most recent injury, which happened back in July, was a groin injury. The craziest part about all of this has been the reporting around her injury. The team has never given her a timetable for return, and literally up until today, the team had been reporting that she was still trying to get back on the court this season. The Fever only have 3 regular season games left in the season before playoffs. Some fans were even speculating that they've just been stringing fans along the whole time because they know that ratings and attendance would drop once they announced that she's out, which is also so ironic that they announced it the day that football season starts. Anyway, this is not only a huge blow for the Fever, but also for the entire WNBA. Caitlin was out with an injury back in June. Viewership dropped over 50% across the league. That's the kind of effect that she has on things. And it seems like from her post and how they announced it, Caitlin was the one that was trying so hard to get back on court. She has traveled to every single away game. She's always meeting with fans, taking photos, signing autographs, doing all of the things because she knows how many people come out specifically to see her. But I'm really interested to see what viewership and attendance looks like now that it's official that she's done. The hope is gone. Putting my best to Caitlin, I have no doubts that she will be back stronger than ever, hopefully next season.
Let's break this down because the narrative is wild. Caitlin Clark goes from being the league's ticket seller, the ratings booster, the one player keeping half the clubs alive, to now becoming the headline of a movement the WNBA never wanted to see. Fans publicly telling her to pack her bags and play in Europe. And trust me, this isn't just random babble. It's serious. Why Europe? Because that's where the money is. That's where players are treated like princes. We're talking about flights that aren't economy middle seats. We're talking about contracts costing millions, not the be glad for your $80,000 speech the WNBA throws out. Players in Russia, Turkey, and Italy have made more in one season overseas than they could make in 5 at home. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA to survive. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark to survive. And now with her sidelined by a groin ailment, supporters are taking a step back and recognizing something. Maybe it's time she protected herself, her career, and her body by heading overseas.
As well, because Caitlin Clark fans, I want to say Fever fans, but at this point, so many of you, including myself, has lost faith in everybody involved in leadership and in management and coaching. We've just sort of I got to tell you, I don't have any more real good things to say about the Fever organization as of now, because I will contend that they have known this was going to happen.
Let's talk about the groin injury, because this is when the frustration truly begins. The Fever front office has handled this like a clown show. First, they kept stating she was day-to-day. Then they stated she was making progress. Then they stated she was doing light practice, and then abruptly boom out for the season. Fans aren't foolish. They saw her running in shoot-arounds, saw her moving fine, and yet the official word was always ambiguous. This is why supporters are mad. It's not only the injury, it's the falsehoods. Transparency doesn't exist with this franchise. The front office strung everyone along selling tickets and advertising her return, only to finally acknowledge what most of us already suspected. She wasn't coming back. And now others are asking the obvious question. Why should she put her career in the hands of a company that clearly doesn't respect honesty or her long-term health?
The remainder of the W season, Clark hasn't played since July 15th, dealing with a groin injury. SA, your reaction to Caitlin being shut down?
Let's find out what the rest of the WNBA is going to do in terms of popularity. You've been saying up and down that, whether tacitly or directly, that, she's getting too much shine, even though we respect and what have you. We deserve our shine. Well, now's a perfect opportunity for you to prove that. If not, acknowledge her impact on the financial aspects that she brings to the table, adopt the mentality that a rising tide lifts all boats, and learn to have an elevated level of appreciation for what she has brought to the game and assist her in making the league even more profitable.
Now, imagine this. Caitlin Clark in Spain, Italy, or Turkey, where basketball stadiums are crowded with thousands of screaming spectators who treat women's basketball like a first-tier sport. She wouldn't be dealing with refs who let her be hacked every possession. She wouldn't have to carry a squad full of role players that fold under pressure. And she wouldn't have to listen to teammates downplaying her ailments while still depending on her name to fill their stadium. In Europe, Caitlin wouldn't simply be a star. She'd be the centerpiece. She'd be compensated like the draw she is, treated like the symbol she is, and safeguarded by a system that appreciates her importance. This is why fans are demanding, leave. Don't squander another great year in a league that doesn't protect you.
Very difficult to believe that the Indiana Fever are just now realizing that, hey, she's done for the year. I think this has been done. I told you guys, I put out a video 2 weeks ago saying, man, she's done. She's done. Once they put out the article, when she was supposed to return versus the Minnesota Lynx, supposedly, and then the Scott Agneses and all them start talking about she suffered a bone bruise in Phoenix. I told y'all, it was a wrap.
Make no mistake, the WNBA is panicked right now. They know that without Caitlin Clark, half the casual fans checking in are gone. The TV networks sign their deals because of her. Attendance spikes happened due of her, and social media video blowing up all because of her. Her groin injury isn't only a personal problem. It's an economic dilemma for the league. The prospect of her departing for Europe is the horror scenario. If fans keep demanding it, and if she even hints at considering it, the WNBA's clout in talks goes straight out the window. This isn't just about one injury, though. This is about a trend of how Caitlin's been treated since day one. The constant harsh fouls, the lack of whistles, the cheap shots from guys who admit afterward they were targeting her. Add the Sophie Cunningham elbow, the Lexi Hall hits, the Bria Hartley trash. This list isn't short. And where was the league? Silent. Where was the commissioner? Nowhere. Instead of safeguarding the player who sells entire arenas, the league let her be bruised up night after night. And now with a groin injury that wipes her out totally, many are saying enough is enough. If the league won't protect her, maybe Europe will. The craziest part is how loud the crowd have grown. Social media is swamped with posts such, "Go to Europe, Caitlin, save yourself." And "Don't squander your career here." Some of these posts are coming from Fever enthusiasts themselves, people who've supported this team through mediocrity, but ultimately hit their breaking point. They're realizing the only reason they even cared was Caitlin, and now they don't want to see her caught in a system that doesn't care back. And let's be honest, fans moving the conversation is powerful. Just weeks ago, nobody in the WNBA office would have ever anticipated Caitlin Clark to Europe being a popular subject. But here we are. And here's where it becomes harsh for the WNBA, the money comparison. Overseas, Caitlin might realistically earn anything from $1 million to $5 million based on endorsements, contracts, and appearances. In the WNBA, base salary caps out under $120,000 with bonuses and sponsorships, maybe pushing it higher. Yes, she's already earning millions from her Nike agreement, Gatorade, Wilson, and Panini. But that's the point. She doesn't require the WNBA check. She could easily play in Europe, pocket even greater checks, and keep her sponsorship empire rolling. The WNBA loses, not Caitlin. And let's not dismiss the locker room dynamic. Caitlin Clark hasn't exactly had the nicest response from veterans in this league. From shady statements to subtle insults, it's been evident that some players detest the prominence she brings. But in Europe, they'd welcome her with open arms because they know she'd increase the entire league's visibility. Over there, she's an asset, not a threat. Groin injuries aren't something you just play through. They linger. they get worse if mismanaged. And if you think the WNBA is equipped to manage that correctly, you haven't been paying attention. Overseas teams spend money on top-tier trainers and medical professionals since they know their investment depends on it. Caitlin obtaining world-class therapy in Europe might possibly be the smartest decision for her future. For the WNBA, this is a PR nightmare. Imagine the headlines: Caitlin Clark leaves WNBA for Europe. That headline alone would erase years of progress in trying to market the league as the best women's basketball in the world. Because if the best player says no thanks, what does it say about everyone else? And fans wouldn't blame her. They'd cheer her on. They'd live stream her games at 3 a.m. just to watch. That's how loyal her fan following is. They're not WNBA fans. They're Caitlin Clark fans. And that's the problem. The rippling effects of Caitlin Clark's groin injury are hitting harder than anyone thought. And it's not just Fever fans or even WNBA fans talking anymore. This topic has migrated into popular sports broadcasts, podcasts, and even overseas venues. People are openly speculating if Caitlin should pack her bags and head across the ocean because the WNBA plainly isn't giving her the environment she deserves. That's not simply chatter. That's pressure. The type of pressure that can change careers. Think about this for a second. When Caitlin Clark gets on the floor, the venue sells out. When Caitlin Clark doesn't play, tickets already paid are still scanned because fans only want a peek of her on the bench. When she's injured, social media bursts with information and gossip. No other player has had this gravitational pull in years. Yet, the league and her own club have failed at the one task that counts most, protecting their investment. And that's when fans feel betrayed. They're not saying migrate to Europe because they want her gone. They're saying it because they want her protected, loved, and supported. And it's hard to argue with them. Look at how European leagues treat stars. In Turkey, players like Diana Taurasi and Brianna Stewart were treated like celebrities. In Russia, players made more money than NBA benchwarmers. In Italy and Spain, women's basketball is a staple sport with significant followings. Over there, Caitlin wouldn't be questioned or targeted. She'd be celebrated. Instead of enduring teammates making sly comments or opponents trying to build a reputation off cheap fouls, she'd be the golden ticket. Fans would queue up for miles simply to witness her warm-up. So, here's my question to you. If you were Caitlin Clark, would you risk another season in the WNBA, or would you take the money, safety, and respect in Europe? That's the discussion, and it's only getting hotter. The WNBA is on the clock. And Caitlin Clark, she's got the whole world watching. If you're heated up about this article, add your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and keep those notifications on. I'll be bringing you updates every time this Caitlin Clark saga takes another turn.